If I reminded you that you are perfect, would you argue me down or step into your perfection? Welcome to Perfect Mode, where there are no excuses, no expectations, and we explore the world without limitations. I'm JClay, rapper, the spiritual teacher, with my co-host Troy Washington, your friendly neighborhood realtor. Let's be real, so let's be perfect. Perfect mode. Everything, anything, many things, plenty things, 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 perfect mode. Perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode, perfect mode. Everything, anything, many things, plenty things, perfect mode, perfect mode. Everything, anything, anything, plenty things, perfect mode.
Perfect.
What up? What up? Welcome to Perfect Mode. First off, I want to start by telling y'all that we love y'all. We're grateful for the opportunity to be anywhere, sharing our thoughts, the way that we see life, and hopefully helping you realize that you are perfect. Yeah, I said it. You are perfect. And the only reason you would think that you're not perfect is if you're looking at somebody else and saying, I'm not them over there, but guess what? You are unique, one of one, numero uno, and you cannot be duplicated, replicated, and nobody can do you better than you. And that's the reason why I can say that unapologetically. And of course, it's yours truly, Troy Washington, your friendly neighborhood realtor. And I have my boy, JClay, spiritual rapper and teacher. And we about to get on here and talk about unwavering commitment to your vision. What up, Jay?
What up? Happy Sunday. Happy perfect Sunday to all my perfect people in perfect land, experiencing each other's perfection and holding that vision as well. So yeah, I'm feeling good, man. Happy Sunday.
And one thing I'll say also before we even actually get into it, we are not late today, guys. Go ahead and turn those clocks back. It is not 1 o'clock. It is noon. And if you didn't set your clocks back for this week, go ahead and get it started. So that way you don't end up being late all week doing, sleeping, all that extra kind of good stuff. But yeah, unwavering commitment to your vision, bro. When I saw this, go ahead, Jay. But
I was gonna say that's a good point because we got people watching that in other countries too that don't do the daylight saving. So here in the US, we set our clocks in one of these directions. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Fall back, spring forward. So in the fall, we get to get a little extra sleep. And then the kids get to stay up a little later, per their, it's always a great thing. And the sun goes down early. So it's going to be dark at like 5 or 6 o'clock. So, cool days for cool people. But I am the craziest thing about this topic. And I guess it's the craziest thing about all the topics, but that mug is always kind of like right straight home. And what that actually looks like when we talk about the unwavering commitment to your vision, like what does unwavering mean? And then, the first thing that came to my mind is like honing in on what the true vision is, because I think that a lot of times we tend to walk around and we're so broad in our thought process. It's hard to have an unwavering commitment to a million different things, or when you're not strategic with it. But go ahead, Jay, you got this, brother.
Yeah, man. This topic came about, of course, because I have visions, or even I'll say a vision that I'm definitely holding strong. And I realized, throughout the years, how many visions I've had, how many I let go of at the slightest hint of whatever. Like, I don't really want that vision as much as I thought. But then it kind of forced me to find one that I really want and stick to it. So like, for example, and this is my mindset. We all know thoughts are powerful. I like to bring up, watch your thoughts for they become your words. Watch your words for they become your actions. Watch your actions for they become your habits. Watch your habits for it becomes your character. Watch your character because it becomes your destiny. So, your thoughts lead to your destiny. And I was just thinking about as human beings in the physical, one of the greatest things humans can do is create other humans. And this process takes like 9 to 10 months to do. But even in that, like a lot of the parents don't really lose the vision of that. Like they know that, okay, at this time, this new person is going to come out. And I was like, if you can do that with a physical person, just imagine what you can do for a thought. How many of us have held a thought, have held a vision for that long, for 9 months, for 10 months, even longer. Like how many of us have really had it? And the thing is, even in the month that I've been really holding my vision, I've been seeing the changes, not only in my own behavior, but just in the circumstances surrounding it in my life. And I'm like, man, imagine it when I keep holding this and adhering to it for additional months, where it's going to be.
So a million things came to my mind, bro. And I had like 40,000 different things that I want to talk about just based off of what you just said. But I'm going to be simple, and I'm going to go back to your point about someone being pregnant and getting ready to have a kid, and how they're able to hold that thought for 9 months. And the reason why I think it's pertinent is because, number one, like in that 9 months, me personally going through it with my wife, like the body changes, like there's a lot of different, obstacles that are thrown their way during that process. But nonetheless, they're able to stay in a stable mindset, even though everything else is wavering, and do all the things that have been told to them are necessary to have a healthy baby. And the reason why I point that out is because the first thing that came to me is the level of importance of our vision or our thought. Because see, when you're having a kid, like, even for myself, even not being the woman carrying a kid, like the number one priority in my life at that time was my kids. So like when my wife got pregnant with TJ, like literally she said, I'm pregnant, I stopped drinking immediately. Like I didn't even like, I just stopped. And it wasn't because I didn't like drinking. It was just because there was a vision that I had, a thought that I had of what this process had to be in order for it to be successful, for her to be comfortable, for me to be comfortable. And no matter what, because the level of importance of my kid was so high, I was unwavering in the thought process. But even to go a step further, forget the 9-month process when of having a baby. The first year of your child's life, a lot of times is like the most important development stage for that kid to get all the nutrients and all these things. And the reality of it is there are thousands of obstacles once you have your kid. Your own personal preferences, like you don't want to get up every 3 hours to feed no kid. I mean, until you've done it, it's a crazy thing, because I did it once, and when I had to do it again, I was already dreading it. But the reality of it was the thought process was unwavering. The process was unwavering because of the level of importance of the vision. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and to that, and so again, of course, I'm not comparing a child to a thought or a vision, but I'm saying if you can do something as powerful as usher in a child into this world, just imagine, like really just imagine your vision if you hold it for that long. So even in the pregnant process, for example, like before this becomes a reality, before it really comes into fruition, there are different parties at different milestones. It's celebrated. Like how often do you celebrate an idea? But even before that, how often do you hold an idea for 9 to 10 months before you've let it go and say, oh, this is too hard or this is whatever? And just imagine if you did something similar, like, okay, I'm going to hold this vision for this long. I'm going to celebrate these milestones. At this point, I'm going to make sure this is intact, that this is all right. And you do the same thing. And just imagine how you can change your life by really holding that vision and treating it with that much respect.
So I'm gonna piggyback on you again, and I'm gonna say that I know that you were not trying to make having a child equal to visions and accomplishing goals, but myself, I am. Because the reality of it is, the reason why I point out level of importance is because some people don't have the same level of importance for them having a kid, or they don't have the same level of importance for the first year of their kid's life. So therefore, they're not able to fulfill or fulfill what most people will fulfill. But the reason why I feel like it relates is because the reality of it is, when you set the level of importance of something, you start to act accordingly. So I remember when we were growing up, before school started, like our biggest thing was like the clothes we was gonna wear. Like the first week of school, I'm not repeating no clothes. Second week of school, I'm not repeating no clothes. And the thing was, my vision was set. And not only that, there was a certain level of energy that came along with it. and even infecting all the people that were around me. And then what would happen is maybe, let's say through the first week, my level of importance of trying to commit that change, because maybe everybody had ran out of clothes, or maybe because me having to get up early was a hindrance to me to get myself fully prepared. And so now things started to elevate over the level of importance of making sure that I didn't repeat clothes. Maybe it was like, well, maybe I need to get a little bit more sleep every day, because that was just the way I don't want to go to school sleepy. And so I think that, number one, to your point that you were making, I would 100% say that it is the same, because it's just all about the level of importance we attach to things that is part of the stepping stone for us having that unwavering commitment to our vision. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and something that I didn't realize too, like you said, your energy affects those around you. So using the example you gave, like when you stop drinking, like I don't drink, and I don't know if I was drinking at the time. I don't think I was, but even if I was, I wouldn't try to get you to drink, because I know that you're holding that vision. Like I wouldn't sway you from it. I would make sure the environment is primed for you to continue to do this, to continue to hold your vision. And when people also see that, man, you holding this for this long, you really got a 9-month plan, a 10-month plan to do this, and you got checkpoints. Like, even if you don't tell anybody, people will still see it on you. They will sense that you're up to something, and you're not just, blindly going through something. But like, if you really have that vision, it impacts all your behaviors and your environment around you.
Again, to your point, you going hard today, bro. That's all I'm gonna tell you. That's number one. But like, to your point, the effect that it has on others, but the effect that has on the world that you're trying to create. Because again, having an unwavering commitment to your vision, you're essentially wanting to no matter what, not change your mind, but also have the easiest path to your goal as possible. And so I'm gonna use you as the example, right? You use me, talking about not drinking, and the reality of it is, if we were together, we probably wouldn't have drunk at that time, which in turn fulfills the commitment to your vision and your world that you're living in. But even to your point, you have, and I don't want to put anything in the air that's not real, but we have our own mentality on what's healthy eating and what's not, right? And I've somewhat subscribed to what you say, partly because of me being around you and seeing the effect that it's had on you. But there have been plenty times when you would come around me and I would literally just eat the way that you eat. Like, I would literally, like, you want to go to a vegan place? Let's go to a vegan place. You want to do this? And it wasn't no strain on me. It's that your commitment to what you were doing was so unapologetic and unwavering. It wasn't like I was forced to do it. I wanted to do it. I wanted to help you achieve that goal. I wanted to make your pathway easy. And it wasn't anything that you ever said to me. It was just natural, because when somebody is unwavering, when somebody's totally committed, you yourself want to help that vision come to life. But because it's so apparent. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and I didn't even think about that. That's true. Like, we really do help people, but it's not that we're going out of our way to help people. It just happens based on their energy. Like, we see where they're headed. We're like, man, I see where you're headed. I want to go there too. Like, I want to go there, but with you. Like, I want to see you get there. Whatever I got to do, I'm with you. And just the act of holding that vision, like, I don't know, it's so important, but it also makes things easier for you to have the life that you want. So just imagine, like, today, wherever you're at in your life, if in 9 months you could have whatever it is that brings you closer in alignment with what you really want out of life. Like, who wouldn't do that?
And so part of the reason why I'm glad you started, but I wanted to point it out as well, is because I want to eliminate the thought process of outside forces. And again, I know that there's there's something, I'll say it like that, but outside forces generally are for you versus against you. Because a lot of times we will set the stage, or we will present life in such a way that says, well, the reason why I can't do this is because of this. But the truth is, everything is working in your favor, probably except for you. Because if for whatever reason you're in a situation where the circumstances are not working in your favor, and I mean all of them, is because you're somewhere that you, even in your own mind, don't feel like you're supposed to be. And that's just my personal opinion on that. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, no, it's true. Like it's showing you it's time to leave. It's time to get out of here. You know you don't want to be here. This is why we're showing you this, what you don't want. Like choose what you want. And so it's funny because after I chose this topic, I started reading this book. It's called The Rule, which I do recommend so far. And I was listening to it, and I was like, man, this kind of does go on par with today's topic. But one thing in particular, he told a story of how a guy, like this guy's neighbor won the Mega Millions or whatever, just the biggest lottery you can win, just like that. And so then the guy, he got mad. He went to his backyard. He just yelled at the sky like, God, I've been a good person. I always did right. I always did this and did that. How come I couldn't win? And then they said the skies turned dark. Some lightning came through, and God said, did you ever play? Did you ever buy a ticket? You know what I mean? So I say that to say, like, you have to be in the game. You have to start your vision. So the important thing in that story is figure out what it is you want. Now, again, like, you don't have to make a decision for the rest of your life, but at least right now you have a general idea of what you would like to have 9 months from now, because it's probably what you would like to have right now.
So to that point, knowing what it is, so that way you can actually get some skin in the game. So I went and talked to shouts out to Eastern Hills High School. They have an entrepreneur class that they have for students, which we never had anything like that when I was growing up. But they essentially get other entrepreneurs to come in and talk to the kids about what it looks like, expectations, how to move, and things of that nature. And I've been as fortunate enough to go talk to these kids last year, and I was fortunate to go talk to them this year. But the reason why I'm bringing it up now is because this last time, which was about 2 or 3 weeks ago, one of the things I specifically stated to them, we were actually talking about vision in a sense. And it doesn't just apply to kids, it applies to adults as well. The one thing that we fail to do a lot is articulating ourselves by writing it down or, making a vision board, which I'll talk about in a minute. But for whatever reason, and again, I think that we're all capable of all things. But I asked everybody a question while I was in there, and I was like, "Do y'all know what y'all wore last week?" And they were like, "Nah." And I was like, "Well, how many times have you been looking for something like your phone or something or your keys, and they were in your pocket, or just all of these different scenarios?" And they were like, "All the time." And I was like, "So what makes you think at the beginning of a year you can formulate a vision and a goal, not write it down and remember all the details of it?" It's not to say that you don't have a sharp memory, but there are so many things going on in your life, in your head, that the fine details are always hard to recall when necessary. And the reason why I'm bringing it up is because, to your point, knowing what you want, to me, is like putting it on paper or putting it in audio form or put it in video form, so that way you actually know what you're looking at and you can follow the steps. And when you do those things, now when you want to talk about unwavering commitment, when you know what you're doing every day, number one, the unwavering part starts to become easy. But not only that, you see progress. You say, okay, now you said have those goals, those little individual accomplishments that you need to accomplish along the way. All right, I have this vision. Step one was literally just get out the bed. Ching, I got out the bed. What a wonderful thing. And so I said all of that to say that, a part of what we're talking about for me is literally you have to put it down. You have to have some form of way to realize it over and over again for yourself to be able to move forward in a way that you may have thought at a time. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and again, like comparing holding a vision again to, like, for holding a vision for 9 months, comparing that to the birthing of a child. There's physical representations every day, like in the form of feelings or just from just physical, just seeing what you see. So it's always on your mind that, okay, around this date, something's gonna happen. And if you hold that same vision too, like of whatever you want, like around this date, something's gonna happen. You have checkpoints throughout. Like you might have doctor's appointments. You might have checkpoints like, okay, I need to check in with my advisor or my plan, like whatever plan I'm going on. Even though the plan it matters, but it doesn't. As long as you hold that vision, which is the most important thing, around this time, 9 months from now, this thing is gonna happen. You will make you will usher it in. Like it's the world can't help but bring this to you because you're bringing it to it at the same time. It's like what you want wants you, and all of these forces go into play. But the important thing that you brought up is you have to revisit this on your vision on a regular basis. It could be easier to revisit that if someone is pregnant because again, you already have that reminder. But if you're not, make sure you set up that reminder, post it, write it like you said, make a video that you watch whatever you got to do, remember it.
I love it because, again, the stomach of a woman is evidence. Being sick, them throwing up because of them having, all of the childhood, it's evident. It's always, the mood changes, it's evident. All these things, it's like them writing it down. They just don't have to write that down. But I wanted to talk about the vision board, and I'm saying this because I've never done one before. Now, funny enough, on December 2nd, I've been invited by, shout out to Nikita Jacobs. She wants me to come and talk to people about holding a vision, funny enough. And she asked me, had I ever done a vision board? I said, no, I ain't done one. But she was like, okay, well, cool. I think that you'll be fine anyway because you're articulate when it comes to your stuff anyway. So I always write down my goals. And the craziest part about the where I'm trying to hold myself more accountable is I don't always go back and revisit it. That's a whole nother piece to it. Like you write it down and we're talking about making sure that it's evident every day. Now, fortunately for me, everything that I've ever written down, well, I ain't gonna say everything. A lot of the things that I've written down, when I go back and revisit it later in the year, I've kind of hit those marks along the way. Like, oh, dang, I forgot I wrote I was going to do that. Dang, I did that. I forgot I was going to write that. And I end up having, hit a bunch of marks now. I attribute a lot of that to me writing it down. And now when you write something, you kind of have an embedded script in your head because you've seen it before. But the vision board meeting really brought to light for myself that my vision was not clear, right? Now, I haven't started doing my vision board because now I had to ask myself, what is it that I truly want, right? How does this really look? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because it's about the detail. And again, I'm not saying you have to script that every moment of your life or you have to literally write down every single step along the way. But the other part to that is I don't even know what it looks like. And if you don't know what it looks like, well, what are you doing? Go ahead, Jay.
So yeah, it's two parts to this. So similarly, like I was like, okay, well, what do I want? Well, I don't want that to stop me from going towards something. I know something I want now. So I will start. I started writing it, I'll start saying it. But then I realized it's like, okay, if I can do this with whatever I want, why am I settling for this? Why not really go for it? Like, why? I mean, if I fail, that could suck, but why not try to really get what I get? Like, I believe this works and there's evidence that this works. Why not really go for it? And once so I say this to say, like, just start where you're at because you're naturally going to correct. You're going to realize there are certain things that you don't want as much as you thought you want because if it's not worth you holding that vision for 9-10 months, you really don't want it that much. You really don't care for it that much. And when you find what that is, it is. But I want to say one more thing real quick before you jump in. You brought up about like with pregnant, like mood changes. And like a light bulb came on because that's something that would make me drop a goal like that if my mood changes all of a sudden. But even in that, like when a woman is pregnant and the mood changes, they still know around this date, something's going to happen. And because they're holding that vision, and we should do the same thing. We're going to accept there are going to be mood changes in us holding this vision, but as long as we hold the vision, we good.
100. Like I didn't even think about the whole mood change thing, and the reality of it is that is what generally will sway people because you're feeling down about the outcome that you currently have. But I also want to go back to the point that you were making about, trying, why am I, when I know, like, there is evidence that a blueprint, I'm just going to say blueprint, or a plan, or following these steps specifically will equate in the outcome that you said that you desire. No matter what, like, there's always tons of evidence that leads to the point where this is going, right? So you said, well, why am I not just writing like, why am I just not writing, I want $1 billion or something, like whatever that could be, right? And that was the point that I found out for myself, right? So I told you I would write my goals down at the beginning of the year, and sometimes I don't even revisit them. And then I would come back at the end of the year and I would look and I'd be like, dang, I did that, I did that, I did that. And I would be happy about it. I would be excited. I'd be like, oh, I did that. But the thing that I realized is I will never write down anything that I don't believe that I can have. I would never write down that I don't believe that I can have. I would never vocally share what I don't believe that I can have. Even though I think that I can have it, I don't think that I can have it. And so that's the reason why when I would go back and revisit stuff at the end of the year, of course I accomplished it. I knew I could before I wrote it down. And I think that's where being daring and believing in yourself, and then after you do those things, having that unwavering commitment pays the most dividends. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. So like to that point, that's a good point because yeah, we realize our own limitations and the fact of what we won't write. Like that tells just as much as a story of what we will write. And even in me, like when I finally decided to go for this goal, I don't like saying goal, I'm gonna say aim for this target. I had no idea where to start. I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't know anyone that's done this before, and it's one of those things. It's like, all right, let's just stick with it. Let's just keep revisiting it. Let's say this over and over again, a few times a day, right before you go to sleep, right before you wake up. And stuff has been happening that's starting the unfoldment of this, and I'm like, this is crazy. Like, and because of how do I want to say this, the nature of my goal and where I might feel that I am to it now. I don't want to share it just yet with the world because I don't want to sow any seeds of doubt. And I know right now within me, I know that I can have this, but I don't know if I can not combat, but somebody will like, well, you can't do this. This is impossible. No human ever did this before. You know what I mean? Like something like that. And but I can honestly say that I'm a lot closer than what I was before I even attempted to go on this journey.
So again, and that's where for me, like proof is in the pudding. There's not one thing that I've ever done. Like, I mean, literally not one thing that I ever done that once I did it to the second time, I didn't get a little bit better and gradually do that over time to the point where even if I didn't decide to master something, I was decent enough because repetition it kind of builds character in whatever it is that you're doing. But I guess my question would be now, since we kind of dove into it, like, how do you get to, aside from, writing it down, like, how do you get to that unwavering commitment and trick yourself in a sense? Because the reality is we do have, we talked about, somebody being pregnant or somebody having a kid. But we have unwavering commitment to a lot of things that we don't qualify or quantify as being important, right? Like we deem it important, which is the reason why we do it, but we don't voice it so that way we can have power for it to translate into other things. And so, like, how do we start to move that unwavering commitment that we have to certain things, even if it's just being a negative person, like sometimes no matter what it is, to moving us toward our vision or our aim. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, that's a good point because it's a lot of things we do. Like we might have faith if I go to a job every week, I'm gonna get paid. Like you know that the thing about being pregnant, like that around this time, if all goes well, a child will be born around this time. Like we have faith in that. The way it takes effort, but it doesn't have to be hard effort. Like for example, like what I just shared about me doing this. There is no blueprint. I don't even know the plan. My only plan is to hold the vision and get to a point where I can really see myself into this. And it is getting easier and easier, clearer and clearer for me to see myself. And I know from doing this kind of before, not necessarily in this long, like a plan will take shape, a plan will form. But the most important thing is that you make yourself believe that it's possible first. And I think that's there's many ways to go about that, but that's the most important thing I would say.
So I want to touch back on the emotions, and I'm with you. And I think just to kind of add on to that is no matter how I feel, and I'm gonna talk to you about, like, I got a 5-year-old, And shouts out to all of the people that got 5-year-olds out there that know how 5-year-olds act. Like 5-year-old, especially when they got an older sibling, they feel like they can do everything that the older sibling does without any restrictions or any limitations. So I'm not saying like he can stay up the same amount of time, but he might feel like we just went to Six Flags yesterday. I can ride that ride because TJ can ride that ride. And so whenever they're not able to do things that other people can do, that they feel like everybody can do, they are unwavering about their commitment to getting what they want. I'll say it like that. They literally are like, no matter what, I'm gonna act as crazy as I possibly can till y'all let me get on a roller coaster, even though it says I'm too short. I'm just gonna act crazy. But my point in bringing him up is that it's challenging raising a little kid, right? But along the way, as a parent, there's a lot of different types of discipline that you might try. You might spank them, you might yell, it's a bunch of different stuff. And the kid is going to try to bring out all of them in you, right? So the reason why I say that is there are times when my kid is talking to me where it is unbearable. It's like I'm about to lose my mind. He's going to make me act crazy, and I don't know how to maintain it. And so when I say no matter how it feels, you got to be able to point yourself back to the vision that you want. Okay, why am I not responding the way that he's making me feel like I want to respond? Why am I not acting the way that he's making me feel? Because again, the reason why we lose vision a lot of times is because it's based off of emotion. Like I was trying to sell this house, and now the owner is going crazy. I don't know how to handle them. But there are a lot of times where I really have said, you know what, don't take it personal what they're saying. They're not talking to you. We ultimately want to sell this house. Hey, I know that y'all are frustrated. This is not anything that I ever could have expected. But guess what? I'm focused on selling your house and bring everybody back down. And I think that one of the most important things is that not letting our emotions overcome our actions, but it's tied to making sure you keep your eyes on the prize. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. First off, shout out to Nelly in the house. Also, shout out to Angela. Angela said that takes discipline. We have to become emotionally reasonable. And and to both y'all points, like you said earlier in the show, Troy, things happen for us, and we don't realize that. So, like for example, with your son doing this and trying to get you out that mode, it really got you back into the mode. Because I mean, you held the vision not only of how you want to be, but how you want to be to him and how you would like him to be. You held all of those visions at one point, and it brought you back to that when you could have easily did what a lot of adults do and say, oh, that person is toxic. I mean, I know you're not going to say that about your child, but imagine if you did. You're like, my child's toxic, I'm leaving my child, which is absurd. But it brought you back to that moment. And I use that example because it's the same thing with so-called toxic people. Like every adult is just a grown child. And if we can remember that they're acting this way to get us back into our mode, back into our vision of who we want to be in the face of these kind of things, then we can actually do it.
So let's talk about again, holding true to your vision, how the world will bring it back to you. And this is one of the most beautiful things about having a kid, because their world is kind of only as big as you allowed it to be, in a sense, because you're in control of everything that they do and everything that they see and everything that they intake in most cases, right? And so the times when I've been able to be emotionally responsible, as Angela said, and not allow my emotions to dictate my actions because of the vision that I see clearly, the way that it's paid me back is later down the line where I may have been close to, and this has nothing to do with my kids anymore, but my kids are present, where I have been close to potentially not being emotionally responsible. My son would turn around and say, hey, Dad, don't worry, be happy. You know the song? Like, don't worry, be happy. And the reason why I say it is because now the vision that I've set for myself, other people can see. Like, even kids can see that this person does not want to be upset, or this person does not want to be emotionally irresponsible. So let me say something that, and he doesn't know how much power he has. He's just regurgitating the world that I've created. And then in such, is so powerful because now you want to talk about being woke. Now it's like, dang, this is really what I want, what he's telling me. And I really have to be emotionally responsible. I really have to be responsible to the things that I'm trying to teach them. And it changes the direction that I'm moving. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. And shout out to Nelly. There is no toxic person, JClay. But yeah, like when you hold that vision, I'll put it like this. Like there was a time I was holding the vision of I truly want peace. I want peace no matter what. And there were times that situations arose that made me mad. Like I'm not gonna lie, like I was angry, but in that anger, I realized I had a choice. And it was funny because I still wanted to choose the anger. Like I got angry, like, hey, you're right. I do got a choice to let this go and have peace. And it was funny because I didn't want to do it. But at the same time, I saw the progress in that because sometimes we might mindlessly go in the direction that we don't want. But if we consciously do it, it makes it a little bit different. And then we can start consciously choosing what we want. So I say that to say that whatever that vision is, like once you start to hold that vision, everything that comes up, every circumstance, every situation is an opportunity for you to show that this is truly what you want.
So with that being said, I want to frame this from the standpoint of not just goals, like you said, and aim, but the reality of it is we're in charge of our entire world. Like what it looks like, where we're going, how the people inside our world interact. And that's a big part of your vision. Even a lot of times the careers we choose is tied to what we think people are going to think about us, you know what I mean? Or, how we feel like people are going to interact with us. So I think that, when it comes to having an unwavering commitment to your vision, number one, like you have to see that your vision is sometimes greater than what you could even imagine. And you have to make yourself step outside of your box to kind of look at it from a bird's eye view and figure out a way to expand it, because you're wanting like if somebody told you, hey man, I'm gonna let you go fight in this battle for me, and you can have unlimited troops, right? That's essentially what holding our vision is like. If you can see your vision from that like unwavering and non-believing thought process, again, why I won't write $1 billion is because I don't think that I can have it. So my army that I have to help me get there is not going to buy into my vision and help me get there. The more people that I've told that I'm a realtor, and I've said it with the attitude that I have today, the more people have sent people to me. And it's not that I'm asking anybody. It's not like I'm saying, hey, if you know somebody all the time, what happens is I'm just telling that person I'm a realtor, and they're believing me because of my unwavering commitment to my vision. And later down the line, they start to, other people start to materialize because I have the entire army with me. Go ahead, Jay.
Question. Did you ever tell someone you were a realtor before you believed you were a realtor?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
Okay. And did you do it to be deceitful, or did you do it because you wanted it to lead you?
You're saying before I believed him, because so let me tell you what I'm thinking you're saying. When I first became a realtor, when I was actually a realtor, like I didn't have belief in the process for myself. Okay. And so when I say, go ahead.
Well, I guess, but like you said, you became a realtor. So whatever that meant to you, you were then a realtor, and then you were able to tell people you were a realtor.
Right. So there was a vision that I held once I started to believe that I could do it. Like the first vision was, I'm just doing this job because you can make money and all these different things, but it wasn't clear. It wasn't where I understand that the reason why I'm a realtor today or I'm a broker today is because I love to help people. I love to see people accomplish their goal. Like I know that now. And so because of that, and I know how I fit into the communication part of it, now I can say that I'm a realtor and I know what it really means. I know what my vision is. And when I say it, I think that kind of translates to people. But it goes back to the point when I first, shouts out to Angela. She said, yes, I did it because I knew I wanted to be. And so I go back to even me being a coach of small kids. There were years that I was actually coaching, but every time somebody said something to me about being a coach, I'd be like, I'm not no real coach. I never held the vision of me being a coach. And the crazy part about it was, it wasn't until I acknowledged it the way that I felt like I should was when I started to really see the impact happening with the kids, not only the kids that I'm coaching outside of my family, but my own kids, because my attitude changed about it. The way that I was actually looking at the stuff that I was trying to teach changed. Like I even got more detail, and it's kind of like my steps were ordered by me believing and having that unwavering commitment to what I was saying. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, so that's what I was gonna say. I relate because I started off as a producer, and then I would occasionally rap, and people are like, man, you're a good rapper. I'm like, nah, I'm a producer that raps. I'm not. But once I accepted, like, I am a rapper, in my mind, so many doors opened up. Like, just like nothing physical changed, but in my mind, like, so many possibilities were there because, oh, you're right, I can do this. And I want to ask, was it similar when you accepted that you were a coach, and not only a coach, but a good coach, great coach?
Now, I mean, like, I'm telling you, it was a complete 360. Like I ain't gonna say my whole life. That whole life changed because I have so many aspects of my life. But that whole area that I was in changed because there's a couple of things. I'm just gonna give you some points. I found myself walking around at the gym, right? And other coaches asking me to help them. Hey man, like now my team wasn't the most winningest team in the gym, or it wasn't like we were just running the score, but at that point, people started to involve me more, or people started to, it was just, even the kids started to call, it was just, my entire life changed from that standpoint. But that's the same thing that happened to me when I decided that I was a realtor, I was a broker. Like my entire world changed. Shasta Angela's on here. Like before I became a broker, I was telling her that I was going to be a broker, but there was words that was just coming out of my mouth. You know what I mean? And then at some point it became a true vision. And then I started to move at a pace, and I started to act in such a way that it put me in position to do what I'm doing today. And even outside of that, the level that I feel like I can be at changed now. There's levels to this too, right? So I accepted being a broker, and then I said, okay, now I'm a broker at this level, and then those doors start to open up more and cause me to, move in certain ways. Shouts out to Loretta. She says the highest form of visioning is speaking, profession, conversations with God.
Yeah, and to that point, so, and I'm glad you said all that. And I'm glad Loretta said what she said as well, because again, the most important thing is getting you to believe in your vision first, even if it's the most unbelievable thing. And so, like with my aim, with my definite chief aim, shout out to Napoleon Hill for that term and concept. I say it every day. Like I've been saying it, and it's leading me to it. It's leading me like this is getting easier and easier. Not only did I have this memorized now, but the pattern in my mind that I go to visualize it is getting memorized too. And the thing is, like, I don't know the difference anymore. Like this is me now. This, and the more that I do this is, again, this becomes me, and my reality matches that. So whatever it is, even if you want the most unbelievable thing, even if you think there's no possible way that you can get there, just start to say it to yourself. You don't even have to tell the world. You don't have to tell anybody yet until you're ready. But that helps too when you are ready, because you can say it so confidently that they know. They like, I know you're serious. I'm riding with you.
So that brings me back to the main point here. When you're saying the most important thing, and I'm going to say, like, belief is everything for everything that we got going on. But the question I asked you, and like I said, I won't write down stuff, not purposely. I don't purposely not write down $1 billion, guys. Like, I would like to make $1 billion, right? I would love to put that on my vision board. I would love to put that on a piece of paper. But the way that my life has gone to this point, there was not a clear vision for myself. Now I have clear ideas. We all have clear ideas, and we also have clear business thought processes and all those type of things. But I would not write down $1 billion because of belief. But belief. And so what I would say is, even if it's not $1 billion, write down what you believe you can have first. That's how you start to build on it. Just like we said, once you do something one time, it becomes easier next time. So you might not write $1 billion today, but you need to write down that I'm gonna make, $100,000 this year. You know, and I only say that because, you know, that sounds like a reasonable thing that I think people try to make that's not millionaires, right? I'm gonna make $100,000 this year. And then from writing down, I'm gonna make $100,000 this year, start to write down steps. You know, these are those mile markers along the way. Write down steps of things that you can do to ensure it to happen. And then start to make it. But I promise you, if you don't believe it, you're not gonna write that thing down. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and shout out to Angela. She said, "I feel as though you should never share your vision until you wholeheartedly believe in it." Yeah, I agree as well. And the thing too about writing it and even saying it every day, especially if you commit, like I say, I'm gonna treat this for 9 to 10 months. The same way somebody can usher in a child, I'm gonna usher in this idea into the world. When you start to say this every day, and when you start to believe it. So let's say you use your $100 example, $100,000 example. Let's say you start to believe it in day 7. You like, why am I just doing $100,000? What I really want is $1 trillion. I mean, it could be whatever you want, but like you might not say $1 trillion because you might not think it's possible for a human being to have $1 trillion. And then you might think that that's overkill. So it's so much that comes into play, but you won't know until you start. But it can also be fear sometimes that people don't realize, because once you write this goal, this aim, and start going toward it, you see that your life is not aligned with it at all. So you would have to start changing your whole life essentially. And you might confuse that with your identity. You might think that you will no longer be you, or you will no longer exist, but that's not true either if you would allow yourself to get past that fear.
So now I want to talk about cooperating. Like I'm with you. And I want to talk about cooperating energies, right? So number one, and I know you believe too, that if I am unwavering about my commitment to my vision, the entire world will eventually jump on. Like, I mean, your entire, I won't say the entire, your entire world will eventually help catapult you to where you need to be. But to the point that Angela was saying, and that you kind of alluded to, when it comes to like your world, like when you commit to something, or if you put something out there that you're not wholeheartedly believing in, or you might wholeheartedly believe in but not understand the ramifications of what you're trying to accomplish, then you realize that, you know what, my entire world does have to change. So I'm gonna give you an example. I ran for school board. I had no clue what that world entailed. I had no idea of what was going to be required of me to do this, but I wanted it. The reason why I wanted it was because my kids were going to be going to the schools, and I wanted to make sure that I had my hands all over it. I don't know anybody can do something good for the schools when their kids are there. I know that I could, right? Well, along the process, I started to be in rooms that I wasn't in. I started to be in places that I never thought I would go. But the reality of it was, when I started being in those places, I started looking back at the places that I love to be. I love being at my house. I love going to kick it with my friends. I love doing all of these other things that, not to say that I could never do them, but my life was going to be more on this other side, and I didn't really want that. And that's part of the reason why I didn't run again, because I wasn't ready to, and I'm saying upset just for a lack of words, because I don't think it would be an upset. What you choose to do is what you choose to do. But I didn't want to upset where my life was at the time for me to go do this other vision. Now, the reason why it was important for me to share or put it out there was because I think that living experience is everything. Like, sometimes you have to jump all in so that way you can realize that you need to jump all out. I mean, ice cold bath. Oh, I thought I wanted to do it. Now I won't do it no more, right? And so some of us are built up to be all in, right? But the thing is, like you said at the very beginning of it, you got to have some skin in the game. You got to try. If you don't never try, you'll never know. And a part of trying is bringing your world with you. Like, I want JClay to know I want Angela to know when I'm finna try something new, because y'all are my reinforcements. Y'all are the cavalry. And then if it doesn't work, I mean, it's a headache for me to come back to y'all and be like, man, I ain't gonna do that, mug. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's more of an emotional tie to that than anything, because it's more of an embarrassment from me. Y'all don't care. I mean, you might have thought I wasn't going to do it in the first place, but it's not anything that you're ever going to come be like, well, I knew you wasn't going to do that. You will be more like, okay, well, what's next? Or Angela will be more like, what's next? So I think that, being able to go in and try things is important, and also bringing people along with you, because you might find out along the way that, well, dang, this is what I wanted to do. This is something that my entire team can be cooperative in my growing experience with. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah. And Nelly said also accountability peers. Yep. And I lost my train of thought for a second. So, man, I lost because I started thinking about accountability peers. But one thing's for certain is we just got to believe it. We just got to do what we need to do, because it will transform who we are. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The being is more important than the doing. And the believing kind of lends to the being. So, and the reason I say that is tasks come and go, like methods come and go, but who you are impacts your life. Like if you're solving the problem from being scared, it's a lot different from solving a problem from being confident in it. If you have financial issues and you believe that you're a hundredaire, it's a lot different than if you have financial issues and you believe you're a millionaire. Like it's, oh, I can contact these people, I could borrow. Like it's just a different level of beingness. And so that's why it's important not to necessarily be super invested in your plan, but super invested in your vision, which will then dictate the plan as plans weave and change.
So I'm a tag onto your being, right? And I'm going to say being okay. And again, I can only, tell you the life that I'm living. In real estate for the past 2 years, it's been tough, right? There's been some ups and there's been some downs. And there has also been some frustrations, right? But the one thing that I committed to myself, which in turn made my life, put me in a position for my life to continue to excel, was that I was okay with being okay. I knew that no matter what, I was going to be okay. And that's a part of the big belief, and also holding true to a vision, because when you choose to be okay, then you know that there's no ripple in your vision that you have. There's just either just a layover, in a sense. Like there's only time until everything gets onto the track that I want it to be at. Go ahead, Jay.
Check this out too. Me and you talked about this during the week. The definition of being okay can change, and it's like it's been different throughout our lives. And we use money as an example. For instance, like as a teenager, my definition of okay was a lot different dollar amount than it was as an adult. But no matter what, and I've talked to people who might have lost their jobs, who might have come on hard times, they always get back to their benchmark. Whatever that benchmark is of okay, they always get to it. And so so if we want more, it's a matter of changing what our okay benchmark is and accepting that, because we're going to get to it. We have no choice. It's who we are. It's who we resonate with. It's the frequency we give off. And if you think about frequency, it's just the thoughts you think frequently. It's like it's that state of being you're frequently in, sets your frequency. And when you allow yourself to practice that new frequency of what you want, that becomes your benchmark of okay, and things will always come back to that.
So I'm finna go ahead and dig in a little bit more on this real quick, on that level of okay, depending on where you are. And I love this whole topic though, bro. So a lot of us, including myself, a benchmark for us has been being okay is living check to check. Like that's just kind of how that mug has been. Like, as long as I got enough to pay what I need to pay now, cool. Now, where we have when our okay gets upset, like you said, our level okay standard is just what it is. We can get behind on bills, but in our mind, the only thing we're thinking in that our vision, which is unwavering, and we get it, is no matter what, I'm gonna get all of these back bills paid, and then I'm gonna get back to living check to check. Versus saying that I'm about to get all of this and I'm gonna have $100,000 in reserves, right? Like, we don't never articulate that in a way where we can, it can be a vision and we can move toward it. But the vision that holds steady is, okay, now you can hear it come out of people's mouth. Okay, I got to get these bills caught up, and then I got to get a little bit of money in the bank. Like, that's kind of how we operate. And I think that I just love the fact that you pointed out, just you can change your okay. Now, again, I'm telling you, being okay is important. But to your point, change your level of being okay is key if you want it to change. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and it's true what you said too. Like I've done that before, where I got my bills back, I got a little extra money. It's party time. It's time to do whatever. Like, but if we change that, it wouldn't be time. It wouldn't be party time until after we have that extra $100,000 or extra million, whatever we deem is okay, and we get to set that. Like, again, we get to usher in any reality that we want to, and why not let it be the one that we want instead of the one that life gives us based on us kind of reacting to all the circumstances around us.
So the question I would ask everybody that's listening, and you and for myself as well, because again, like I told you, I got a vision board, event that I'm gonna be doing on December 2nd. And the beauty of life is, man, the reason why we can move forward even when our vision is not clear, because sometimes we just know what we want. I know what I want in life, and I know what I'm trying to do, but the vision and the detail that I need to get there is not clear. And so, the question that I ask for everybody is, what is your vision? Because if you don't know what your vision is, how can you have, unwavering faith or belief in it? Like, if you don't know what it truly looks like, now again, I go back to myself because I want to base it off myself. I know what I want. That's not that's a part of my vision. That's not my entire vision. Like, when I get what I want, for what was my purpose? Like, and so I would question everybody is, what is your vision? Why do you believe in it? And how can you continue to believe in it so that way you can start to develop and have that unwavering commitment to it? Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, and we can get low on time, but I want to say to that, not to judge other people's vision. And we do it all the time. Like, we might say, man, people are always doing this. I can't believe the world's doing that. That's because that might be their vision. Your vision, which is God's gift to you, which is your higher self communicating with you, like, this is what you want, just hold true to this. Like, this, even though they're showing this for their vision, don't give into that. Stick with your vision, and remember to tune in to your own. Forget everybody else's. That's their vision. Have your vision.
I love that. And the funniest, just funniest thing is, you can have a vision to not. There's no toxic people. Remember we said that, but you can have a vision to say that there are no toxic people, and the way that your life will reflect is there won't be anybody that's upsetting your levels like that, because you will put yourself in a position if you have unwavering commitment to that. So shouts out. But I just want to say, man, thank you to everybody that joined us today. Without y'all, we wouldn't be here. All the commentary that y'all give us, it doesn't do anything but help us to realize our perfection, help us weed through things that we need to figure out in order for us to become and realize our perfection. So we thankful for y'all. And we hope that y'all join us again next week. And Jay, you can go ahead and take us out, brother.
Yeah, if you found this helpful, hit that share button. And yeah, appreciate all y'all that rocked with us today. We are here every Sunday at noon Central Time, which just changed this week. But yeah, appreciate y'all. And remember, you're a perfect creation made by a perfect creator. So you might as well accept your perfection and enter perfect mode.
If I reminded you that you are perfect, would you argue me down or step into your perfection? Welcome to Perfect Mode, where there are no excuses, no expectations, and we explore the world without limitations. I'm JClay, rapper and spiritual teacher, with my co-host Troy Washington, your friendly neighborhood realtor. Let's be real, so let's be perfect.